Welcome to Military News YouTube channel. With the crisis between Ukraine and Russia turning into a major conflict, all of Europe and the USA took action against Russia. Although a few weeks ago, French President Emmanuel Macron's meeting with Russian Federation President Vladimir Putin was partially promising, the desired was not achieved and France's efforts to reduce tensions did not yield any results. The crisis broke out in Ukraine last Thursday, turning into a serious physical conflict between Russia and Ukraine. We are now in the fifth day of the fighting and the situation seems to be getting worse. The resistance in Kyiv and Kharkiv shocked Russia as Russia advanced to the Ukrainian capital, Kyiv, in many ways. At the moment, the progress planned by Russia has been seriously slowed down. Yesterday, the resistance in Kharkiv forced Russia to unconditionally negotiate with Ukraine. Europe and the USA responded to the Russian invasion operation against Ukraine with very harsh sanctions. The UK and France, especially the USA, also promised very serious sanctions against Russia. In the light of these sanctions, French authorities reported that French naval forces seized a Russian ship in the English Channel. Reuters said French officials believed the company could be linked to a company suspected of violating trade sanctions linked to the war in Ukraine. The BBC reported that French officials said, a 127-meter-long Russian cargo ship carrying the Baltic Leader carriages was stopped overnight in the Channel by the French Navy and escorted to the port of Boulogne-sur-Mer in northern France. The ship, suspected to belong to a company that is the target of EU sanctions against Moscow, was taken to a French port at the request of the French government. French border forces are currently investigating the cargo ship. The crew on the Baltic Leader is cooperating with the French authorities. The ship was received early on Saturday. The Russian embassy is seeking an official explanation. France seizes Russian-flagged cargo ship for suspected violation of sanctions. French authorities seized a Russian-flagged commercial vessel in the English Channel on Saturday, a spokesperson for the French Channel province told CNN. The spokesperson said the Russian-flagged Baltic Leader, a commercial vessel carrying cars, was stopped by French authorities in the Channel and diverted back to the port of Boulogne. The spokesperson said customs officials have begun investigations of the ship, which is suspected to belong to a company targeted by European sanctions against Russia for its invasion of Ukraine. An investigation was opened by the French customs. Media outlets affiliated with the Russian Ministry of Defense wrote that the French army attacked and captured a Russian ship. In the Russian media, a Russian ship crossing the English Channel was said to be seized by the French army. According to preliminary data, a landing force landed on the ship from a helicopter that seized the ship. At this time, the Russian ship was forcibly hijacked to the port of Boulogne-sur-Mer in northern France. According to some reports, the ship was fired upon before seizing it, as the captain of the ship refused to comply with the demands of the French army. The Russian side has not yet made an official statement about the attack on a civilian ship, but Russian experts note that a group of Russian warships was relatively recently located in this part of the planet. Meanwhile, the French CSG reassigned NATO support role. The French aircraft carrier Charles de Gaulle and his strike group are reassigned to support NATO following the invasion of Ukraine by Russian forces. French CSG, currently operating as part of the Clemenceau 22 inches mission in the eastern Mediterranean, has started a logistics stop in Cyprus. He will later be reassigned to assist NATO, a French Navy spokesperson told the media. Mission Clemenceau 22 inches started on February 1. The focus of the deployment is the Mediterranean region, but some assets, a frigate and some fighters, are set to be deployed in the Black Sea. The air defense FREMM frigate Alsace, the latest addition to the French Navy's fleet, was expected to cross into the Black Sea to communicate with the Romanian Navy. That plan has now been shelved, after what happened this week. Instead, the entire CSG is being reassigned. Charles de Gaulle and his escort launched a logistics stop in Limassol, Cyprus today. The CSG will then be tasked with supporting NATO partners. While the aircraft carrier will not be able to cross into the Black Sea due to the Montreux Convention, the air wing will likely be tasked with patrolling over and around the Black Sea, as well as supporting partners in the region such as Romania and Bulgaria. The French Navy ATL-2 Maritime Patrol Aircraft (MPA) is also based in Cyprus and can fly long-range ISR missions or directly support the CSG. Such support may be needed as a large Russian Navy presence was observed earlier this week near Tartus in Syria, where a Russian naval base is located. This place is only about 60 nautical miles from Cyprus. The Joint Command of the French military announced last week that Rafale M fighter jets were scrambling to accompany the Russian planes, which were detected right after their takeoff from their base in Syria. When deployed from Toulon earlier in the month, the Charles de Gaulle CSG consisted of nuclear-powered aircraft carrier Charles de Gaulle, Horizon-type air defense destroyer Forbin, air defense FREMM Alsace frigate, FREMM frigate Normandy, Durance-class supply oil Le Mans, a Rubies-class SSN, U.S. Navy Arleigh Burke-class destroyer USS Ross, Spanish Navy Alvaro de Bazan-class frigate Juan de Bourbon, Hellenic Navy Ely-class frigate Adrias. NATO announced yesterday that the NATO Response Force has become operational. France currently commands the Very High Readiness Joint Task Force, VJTF, and will therefore deploy 500 of the VJTF's lead element, its 500 soldiers, to Romania. France also said it would deploy additional troops and aircraft in Estonia and fly air policing missions in Poland. Meanwhile, 2 French Navy Mistral-class LHDs have been deployed recently, but these deployments were planned long ago and are not related to the invasion of Ukraine. Dixmude left Toulon on the 18th of February to join the North Atlantic area to participate in NATO's Cold Response 22 exercise. On the same day, the Mistral and Lafayette-class frigate Corbett departed for the eastern Mediterranean and started its Jeanne d'Arc 2022 mission. The French CSG will not operate under NATO command, but will contribute the air wing to NATO. Details are still being worked out, but this could include combat air patrol, CAP, missions with Rafale fighters, surveillance missions with E-2C Hawkeye, and ISR missions with ATL-2 MPA and Rafale fighters with RECO NG pods. The working area of the aircraft will be the Black Sea. During the logistics stop in Cyprus, where the maintenance operation and personnel rotation will take place, CSG is preparing to conduct new operations related to current events, both within the NATO framework and at the national level. As part of its participation in Operation Inherent Resolve, CHAML, CSG Air Wing contributed 72 sorties to the international coalition, 14 with E-2C and 58 with Rafale fighters, representing a total of 400 flight hours. We will adapt our tactical stance to take into account Russia's aggression at the strategic level. It is obvious that what is happening in Ukraine right now will also affect the Eastern Mediterranean, he said. A spokesperson for the French Navy added that the French Navy is not looking at escalating tensions, but at preventing risks of misunderstanding. To avoid such problems, the French Navy established a direct line of communication between the Mediterranean Fleet Command, known as CECMED in Toulon, and the Russian Forces Command in Latakia, Syria.